Well, hello, it's Domain Day from cheapwinefinder.com. Drinking more cheap wine like we do at cheapwinefinder.com. And sometimes the cheap wine isn't all that cheap, and this one is. It's $7.99 for, let me grab the bottle, Bear Bros Sauvignon Blanc 2020. $70.99 at ALDI of all places. This is a wine that is made for ALDI by a large family-owned winery out of Monterey. If you Google winery in Greenfield, California, you'll figure out who it is. I don't like to say who makes them sometimes, because if their name isn't on the bottle, then it's not their wine. And this one is, no. And ALDI actually owns the brand name. ALDI owns Bear Brothers' name. They typically do that with their wines, not always, but that way, if they ever have to change suppliers or whatever, they can keep their core wines going, and no one's supposed to know who made them anyway. So you can have the wine year in, year out. That's one thing people always, when I get asked questions, hey, I'm looking for this wine at Trader Joe's. I had it last year. Where is it this year? And that's one thing about store brands. Sometimes they're here for a few years. Sometimes they're for 1 year. Sometimes they're there for 10 years. You just don't know. And this is a California Sauvignon Blanc. That's inexpensive, though $8 isn't really, really cheap. And when you figure out what the cost advantage is, it's hard to always go one-on-one, but it's probably an $11 to $12 retail wine, which you can get some pretty decent Sauvignon Blancs here. And it's a nice taste of Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, it's interesting. It's not like and fresh and like a summer's day like some Sauvignon Blanc. It's got some weight to it, and it's got more spice than most do, but it's interesting, and I'm glad that I drank it. It might not be my favorite, but it's one of those wines that you're glad you drank. You're glad you gave it a try, and I would drink it again. Just took a sip. It's fine. It's a tasty little wine. I kind of prefer the spring day in a bottle kind of Sauvignon Blancs, and this one's got a little more weight, a little more spice than that, but for what it is, you shouldn't complain about a wine for what it isn't. You got to drink it for what it is, and for what it is, it's pretty good. So that's it. You got a Sauvignon Blanc that's fairly inexpensive, of where the grapes come from exactly you don't know. So I'm kind of done. So I'm going to kind of talk about how to find cheap wine. Because, I already said before, how do you find cheap wine? And one of them is learn to love Grenache. It's hard to find. There's really good Grenache out there, and they really can't get people to buy it like they should. So it tends to be less expensive, especially from Spain or from the Rhone Valley. And in France, there's really good wines that they would like to charge you more for, but no one buys it, so you get good deals. What else is there? Oh, sparkling wine, traditional method sparkling wine, champagne style sparkling wine. There's the Charmat method is Prosecco, and I like both styles. I don't want to say one's better than the other. I'm happy with both. But the people who make the traditional method, the champagne style, there's a few out there that can get higher prices, Stromsburg, Gloria Ferrar, Iron Horse, and a few others. But by and large, if someone's going to spend money, they buy champagne, which starts $35 to $40. So you can get really good traditional method sparkling wines, bubbly, for $20 and under. I mean, a lot of them. I mean, and they're comparable to the expensive stuff. Another sip. Another thing is red wine blends, especially in the value price. They can put they're like recipe wines. They put this together with that, this together and that, this together with that, and they make a wine that's far more complex than it'd ever be from a single vineyard. in that price range. So you get a good blender, and a winemaker can pick out good vineyards, and you're going to get a value as a red blend. Red blends are something to keep your eye on in the value price. And then generally speaking, white wines that are young wines. Sauvignon Blancs, Pinot Grigio, Albarinos, Vino Verdes, Rieslings, even some Chardonnays, although they usually have more going on. You get the taste of Marlborough, New Zealand, taste of France, taste of Central Coast, taste of Washington State. And you can get some really, really attractive wines for not a great deal of money. And so there you go. That's my little quick tips for how to buy cheap wine. There's other things. We still talk about everything, every podcast and every written review. So that's it for me. We got a good Bear Bros Sauvignon Blanc from ALDI for $7.99. It's good. Check it out. Keep it cheap. That's it for me. Keep cool. Adios and bye-bye.